And on the governor's seat tonight, thank you indeed for all the questions that you've been sending our way that we will be forwarding to the governor, Isiolo County. He's with me here in studio tonight. Godana Doyo, thank you very much for your time this evening. And let's begin with the fact that the Commission on Revenue Allocation has identified Isiolo County as one of the 14 counties that are marginalized. You will be getting funds every year, I believe about 199.2 million shillings. Let's talk about how you plan to utilize these funds and indeed bridge the gap between Isiolo and other counties in as far as marginalization is concerned.
Thank you very much, Lillian, for having me this evening. Yes, Isiolo is one of the 14 counties that have been identified as marginalized countries and are set to receive equalization fund. The 199 million is actually supposed to fill some of the development needs that the county has. And as you know, this is a county that has been underserved for many years, since colonial time. And so the money we are talking about, the 200 million or so, is not really enough for so many competing services that we require. But we feel that with that money we can actually do something with it. Of course, the money is supposed to be channeled to one or two major projects. And we have planned that with this money, we are going to have agriculture because food insecurity is a major issue in Isiolo County. We are going to channel that money for irrigation purposes so that we can actually support our farmers. Right.
And you touched on the fact that the money is not enough, would not be enough in your opinion. And this brings me to the question, is the transfer of services from national level to county level, in your opinion, are you as Isiolo County ready to take on these services?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. As a county, we have prepared ourselves. I know at this particular time, it's really challenging for everyone, including the national government, because this is a whole new set of regimes for this country. But as a county, like the rest of the 46 counties in Kenya, we are ready for the functions to be transferred. And of course, following the process of applications, we have, as a county, decided to ask the transitional authority, where the applications are now being directed to have Isiolo be put on those counties that are ready for transfer of functions. Right. We are ready for those functions.
And let me talk about your budget. Your current budget for this financial year is 3.2 billion. You have a budget deficit of 400 million shillings. Let's talk about why this deficit and how you plan to utilize the funds that you're now getting.
Of course, you realize that when this revenue were actually allocated to the counties, one of the criteria that was used is population. Isiolo has a low population, and therefore we received really very little money from the shared revenue, an amount that is actually 2.4 billion. So considering the needs that I was talking about, that Isiolo historically has suffered a lot of development deficit, so the 2.4 billion is not really enough for us to tackle issues of poverty, for us to tackle issues of lack of infrastructure, lack of access to safe and clean water, lack of performance in education sector, and so many other things, including health services. Right. So it's not really enough.
And you touched on education, transition from primary school to secondary school or high school, if you like, very low. The number of primary schools in Isiolo County outnumbering the number of high schools. And a question coming in here about Garbatula High School, the fallen giant, and I believe we ran this story last week. Mike Njenga did a report on that. Plans to revive Garbatula High School, and indeed what is being done about the education, the state of education in that county.
Yes, we are really focusing. Right now we are doing our county integrated development plan. And in that plan, I think the issues of education is really coming out to the forefront because for a long time, education sector was neglected in that county. As you said, transitions from one level to the other has been very poor, considering other factors like nomadic lifestyles of the people, failures to invest in education sector over the years by the successive government. So definitely our schools have been not performing very well. In the last examinations, performance of Isiolo, both at primary school level and at secondary school level, was very poor. At primary school, I think we were number 6 from the bottom. Secondary did not fare at all, and we feel that we really need to inject a lot of funds to restore our schools to the standard that is required. And as you have clearly mentioned, Garbatula was a sort of an oasis in the heart of the desert. But today, it is a fallen face of that school that had a history behind it. It is fallen, it's true, a giant that has fallen. And we have said as a county, because it is a center of excellence that must be supported, we are saying as a county, Garbatula High School must be revived. Garbatula High School must be restored to its past glory. So therefore, yes.
Right. And let's move on to insecurity, Governor Godana. The issue of cattle rustling, proliferation of small arms. What do you plan to do about this issue? As early as last night, there was an issue with cattle rustling in the area, 400 cattle being driven away. Let's talk about your plans to address insecurity in the area.
Lillian, insecurity is a problem. Insecurity is a problem for us over a long period of time. Since from the historical perspective, probably you understand, see, the shifter was in 1960s. But the insecurities we have now is not something that is homegrown. It's not something that is within really Isiolo County. Most of the problems and challenges we are receiving is from outside our county. And therefore, we need an approach that actually would bring all the counties in the region to address the issues of insecurity. Just some 3 days ago, I was in a barrio in Isiolo County because some cattle rustlers from a neighboring country came and attacked our people.
So of course there's the issue of the porous borders and how to secure and ensure that the infiltration of the arms.
Is porous, is a huge county, and our borderlines with other counties is really huge. And it's been very difficult for our security apparatuses to really address.
Security apparatuses, yes. There is a low police deployment in your county. Is that correct?
Well, that is an issue. But at the same time, we also have some rapid response units that are based between Isiolo and Meru County. And the other day, just 2 kilometers from the site of the attack, the detached camp that is based just a few kilometers away, did not respond. We have an issue that sometimes the police does not adequately respond to some of these issues. So we feel that actually there's need for us to be able to change the way the responses are actually carried out.
And let me bring in the LAPSET project. You will be one of the key beneficiaries of the LAPSET project with the plans of the resort city coming up in your county. There is also an airport. You're connected to the Great North Road, which connects you up to Ethiopia. And then there's the discovery of oil in your county. Let's talk about how the county is preparing itself for the investment and expected population and economic boom. Very briefly as we wind up, sir.
Yes. I think Isiolo stands a better chance in terms of all these projects we are talking about. Of course, LAPSET is in infant stage. The planning and designing is still going on, but Isiolo is going to be the hub of all these projects, the flagship projects that are actually designed under Vision 2030. So as a county, we need to prepare our people. We are asking the National Secretariat of Vision 2030 to really engage our people so that we actually benefit from the windfalls, the benefits that come with all these projects we are talking about. In addition to what you have mentioned, we are going to have one of the biggest petrol refinery that's going to be constructed in Isiolo, and that it serves the whole of the Horn of Africa region. And we are talking about the Abotua, we are talking about the international airport and so forth. And I think we really need a plan that is inclusive, that actually put the Isiolo people in the center of all these plans.
You need a plan that is inclusive, and I must forward this question to you as we wind up, Governor Godana. Somebody here is saying, Isiolo is cosmopolitan region harboring Borana, Meru, Somali, Gabra, Turkana, Samburu communities. How will you ensure there's equal distribution of the national cake and equal representation of all the communities? Somebody here actually saying that the county executive committee is dominated by members of a particular tribe. Your response to that as we wind up?
I think my response to that is very simple. Isiolo is diverse. That is very true. And for us, diversity is going to be something that would propel us to higher levels of education, of development. And we really want to take advantage of that diversity. The issue of appointment, I think there's a political angle to it. I've actually appointed from all the major 5 ethnic groups that live in Isiolo. And so probably there are even some cases that were taken to court because they felt that I've not probably appointed from Turkana and Meru communities. But my in charge of ICT portfolio is a Turkana. In charge of industry and trade is a Meru. So definitely there have been some question mark, but I believe it is more of political than the real situation on the ground.
And we are winding up. Last question, the emotive land issue. Somebody here asking what plans are underway to ensure that people can lay claim to land that rightfully belongs to them.
Land is a very contentious issue. It's very contentious, and the land in Isiolo is actually in a mess in terms of management of the land, in terms of transaction is really a big mess that as a government we are now working on. I've actually declared a moratorium on transactions of land because I want to clear all the messes that are there. We want to actually put up a task force that will deal with all these questions of double allocations, questions of corruptions within land offices. And so we are ready to actually deal with issues of land. And land, we are seeing it as a major economic propeller for us, and we want to make sure that everything is done in a proper way.
Governor Godana, the questions are many. They are being directed to you, but I believe you have addressed most of the issues that are being raised by our viewers this evening. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Governor Godana Doyo, Governor Isiolo County, with us on the governor's seat tonight. Up next is the sports, but for now we take a short break. We'll be right back.